Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hannah. I am the Next Generation Partner at CBRE, and welcome to our webinar on graduate opportunities at CBRE. We've also got two of our current graduates presenting with me today. If you want to quickly introduce yourselves.
You go first, Amanda.
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda Nankumba and I am a graduate facade consultant at CBRE.
My name is Tom Hughes and I'm a commercial graduate surveyor up in Manchester.
Awesome, thanks both. So today I'll initially go through a bit of an overview of CBRE, the different opportunities that we've got, and the application process. Then we'll be doing a bit of a Q&A I'll be doing a Q&A with Amanda and Tom to ask about how they find the graduate scheme and the Next Gen cohort at CBRE. And then we will be opening the floor to questions from the audience that you can ask anything to us. We have got someone else, Yashni, who will be on the channel later. She is monitoring our chat box for us. So if you do have any questions throughout the talk at all, then please just pop those into the chat box and she'll be able to then ask those to us later on towards the end. Without further ado, we will go on with the presentation. So just to clarify as well, Next Generation at CBRE is basically all things early careers. So that is graduate opportunities, apprenticeships, internships and placements, and I'm responsible for looking after all of the recruitment for all of those. So this is our cohort that have just joined us a couple of weeks ago, and this was on our week away in Surrey, and that could be you next year. So just starting off with a quick video about CBRE, and there are a few videos initially, and then I'll get into more of kind of the nitty gritty, but this is just a bit of a kind of a promotional video of who CBRE are.
More than steel and glass, more than square footage and four walls, more than facilities and floor plans. Today, more than ever, we see more. We see dimensions others can't, from perspectives others don't. More productivity, flexibility, and employee well-being. Opportunity to invest in the future. Potential in every business, in every space, in every person. Insights that transform. Because the more perspectives we have, the more dimensions we see.
Perfect. So that just gives you a bit of a kind of, from a marketing perspective, who CBRE are. But then just wanted to give you a bit more of a kind of also informal version about our Next Generation programme as well. So this is from some of our current cohort, just telling you a bit more about who CBRE are and what the Next Generation programme is.
CBRE is the world's largest commercial real estate services and investment firm with over 100,000 employees across more than 100 countries.
Real estate refers to the built environment and all that encompasses it. CBRE have a stake across the whole project lifecycle, from services such as valuation, investment, building surveying, corporate real estate strategy, and so much more. So here at CBRE, we truly believe that there's an opportunity for everyone. We've got apprenticeships, we've got graduate schemes, we've got internships, and also sandwich placement years.
In some of our pathways, yes, you do, but in most of our pathways, you do not. You can be a non-cognate graduate. So you just need to have done your degree, get the right grade, and you don't need any relevant experience.
You can expect to work on a variety of different projects, but I suppose it depends on what team you end up in and how long your scheme is. If you're working like a valuation seat, for example, you could be advising a client and valuing, a shopping centre portfolio or a redevelopment building in the middle of central London, or you could be valuing a care home in Bradford. If you're working in sort of investment, you can be, selling a £500 million building in the middle of Mayfair, or you could be selling a new build development in the middle of Manchester or Birmingham. So the world's the oyster. It could literally be anything.
Fab. So for those who have heard of CBRE, you might know some of this. For those who haven't, just also kind of clarifying some of the bits that were also on the video. We are a Fortune 500 company. We're celebrating our 250th anniversary this year. We've got over 500 offices across over 100 countries across the world. So we are the world's largest commercial real estate services and investment firm. So every part of the property kind of life cycle, or every part of real estate you can think of, we are involved in. This is just a quick, I'll send this round to everyone after the presentation as well, but this is our free virtual work experience program. So if you do want to take a moment and scan the QR code, that just has a bit more information about the different areas of CBRE and what we do, so that you can find out a bit more about that. Leave that up for just a moment more. So for context, these are some of our clients. Any kind of big, I always kind of explain it as any kind of big buildings, or even the smaller buildings that you see on your journey to university or in your hometown, then it's probably likely that CBRE has some kind of involvement in that. And once you've seen the logo once, you'll probably start to see it everywhere. We're kind of all dotted about. You just probably don't recognize it at first. But we have a huge amount of kind of involvement in every part of property across the UK and across the wider globe as well. So for a breakdown of that, it could be anything from kind of the land acquisition straight through to the demolition. We have lots of different teams within the business that all have different kind of areas of expertise. We refer to them as service lines, and they basically kind of look after different areas. It might be anything from kind of valuations to property management. Amanda's in facade, Tom does commercial. So that's kind of, they'll give you a bit more of an overview of what that means later. But there is literally every part of property involved in CBRE. So we always say, and as cliche as it is, that we are there is literally a home for everyone at CBRE, no matter what your skill set or what your interest. I'm sure that there's actually probably something that suits you perfectly. So this is another video, and it's just about what our current Next Gen cohort think about being on the Next Gen scheme and what their favourite things are.
So I definitely like all of the activities that you can get involved in, so like the different sports that you can continue from university.
I love working in HH and the various breakout rooms to catch up with colleagues and friends.
The people, cultivating an environment of inclusivity and community.
The Women's Network has recently provided free sanitary products in all female bathrooms.
Henrietta House has twice as many plants as people, and they are all specifically chosen to improve well-being and our efficiency in the workplace.
In the HH Rise Cafe, there's fresh food provided every single day.
I love the exposure grads get to clients and how accessible the senior leadership are.
The office has hot desking, so you get to sit next to someone new every day.
As a non-coc who's never studied real estate before, I didn't think I'd be able to get such great client exposure so early on in my career.
I really enjoy the nice office we have here at CBRE. It makes coming in after COVID so much easier.
We work in one of the best offices in central London.
My favourite thing about working in HH is the lights, because they're just nice and welcoming when you walk in.
My favourite thing about working at CBRE is the collaborative team environment.
I like the diverse range of projects that we get to work on at CBRE.
I always feel I can ask lots of questions and can speak to anyone at any level.
I love the work-life balance at CBRE. Being able to use a free gym as part of the Next Gen is a huge benefit.
I love all the friendships I've made on the grad scheme and all the networking opportunities that have been provided to me.
The trust I've been given to engage with clients from such an early stage.
My favourite thing about CBRE is department-wide socials and the collaboration this enables.
There is so much potential to grow in your professional life.
What I like working about CBRE is the different networks to promote inclusivity in the business.
Inclusivity is at the heart of CBRE, and since the beginning I felt a natural belonging.
So hopefully that gives you a bit more of understanding about some of the things that you can enjoy being on the Next Gen scheme. So it was touched on at the end there by Michael, but inclusivity is part of kind of what makes up CBRE's culture, and to make sure that we kind of enable this in the best way possible, we have different employee business network groups. So these are some of the network groups that we have, and basically anyone can be a part of these at any time. You don't have to kind of directly identify with one of those groups. You can also join up as an ally, but it's a great way to network and meet other people who share similar values and interests to you, but also a way of kind of seeing and feeling kind of more included with other people that might be like you or share kind of similar values or kind of identify as you as well. They do lots of different socials and lots of different information throughout the year to make people kind of more aware. So the Ability Network recently did a really great kind of lunch and learn on living with stammer and how to get through that and navigate that in the corporate world, which was super, super interesting. And it just means that it helps kind of bring all of the employees into that and kind of educates as a whole business level. So the different routes into CBRE, we've got three kind of main areas on the at the Next Gen level. So we've got the graduate and placement scheme. So that's people coming straight from university, mainly kind of what this web presentation is looking at today. We've also got the apprenticeship schemes and the internship opportunities as well. So the first and last ones will probably be most useful for you today. Our internship applications open in February for those who are kind of not yet in their third year and might think about doing that. They can look at doing the summer internships next year, but we're going to focus mainly today on the graduate schemes. So we've got a lot of graduate pathways. Like I say, we do have kind of something for everyone. I'm not going to go through each one individually. There is a document at the end through a QR code that gives a bit more information on the different schemes. But you'll see here that it says cognate and non-cognate. So just to clear up for anyone who's not sure, a cognate is someone who has studied a specific degree relevant to that pathway. So for example, for building surveying, you need to have studied a building surveying degree. But then we've also got the commercial real estate program, which allows non-cognates as well. So you might be studying marketing, psychology, geography, and that would be, you can then sign up to that as well. So if you're not studying a real estate related degree, you can still apply to lots of different pathways. But then there are the more technical ones that require the specific degrees. Our applications are currently open for our graduate schemes. So they opened 3 weeks ago and they'll be closing in a month's time on the 22nd of October. So if you are thinking about signing up to our graduate schemes for next year, then please do so as soon as possible. We'll touch on it more at the end, but there's not an application form. So literally all you need to do is just pop in your details and then you'll be applied to our graduate scheme. So it's super, super easy. Our assessment centres will then be held in December and January. So the benefits of working with CBRE, we did touch on, or the cohort did touch on some of them in the video, but I just wanted to kind of highlight a couple of them. We are a national living wage employer, which basically means that we ensure that we are above the living wage that's set by the Living Wage Foundation. So we're not a minimum wage employer, and we do pay above. And if you look at all of the individual job adverts that are on targetjobs or on our website, then you can see all the individual salaries on there as well. And then it does increase year on year, and you're also you also get a bonus as well. So there is a kind of huge financial gain to being at CBRE. But also you have a fantastic dedicated learning and development team that are completely that are going to help you kind of develop and progress in your career. We also have you're jumping straight into the workplace, wider next generation cohort. So you will be alongside everyone else in the next generation cohort. You won't just be in your team. We have lots of different socials that kind of between all of the different pathways. So it's a great way of kind of networking and growing your circle of friends and colleagues too. So with the application process, as I said, this year there's not a application form. So all you need to do is go onto the job advert that you're interested in and submit with your bio data. You can sign up to multiple pathways if you think you'd be interested in multiple pathways. Once you've then signed up, you will be sent our online testing, which you'll need to complete. Should you be successful from there, we will be doing a phone screening with you. And then from there, if you're successful, you'll be invited to our assessment centres and interviews. And then we'll be making our offers in after all of that. I think that is everything from me. If you want to scan this QR code, this will take you through to a document which has got lots more information on about, and also kind of just recapping some of the information that I've given to you today. It's also got a button at the top that says register your interest. I would 100% recommend signing up to that, to our talent community, if you're not applying straight away, because that will be once our intern applications and once our graduate applications open next year, you'll be the first to find out when we then send that through on the talent community. But also on that form, you can get a link to our open jobs. So I would scan that QR code now, and I'll just give you a moment for that before we then start our Q&A with the graduates. So I'm just going to move on to the Q&A now. So thank you, Amanda and Tom, for joining us today. We're just going to go through a few questions that I've got, and then we'll be then doing the Q&A with the attendees afterwards. So to both of you, what part, I know you've already covered it, but if you could just explain in a bit more detail what pathway you're on and where you're located in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm on the commercial pathway, so that's probably quite a big part. It encompasses quite a lot of different teams, and within that, currently based in the Manchester office, which probably has a lot of opportunities kind of in the regions for like the commercial and get involved in a lot of different teams. And currently sat in operational real estate, doing some valuation.
Perfect, thank you, Amanda.
I'm in the facade engineering pathway. It's a lot smaller than most of the pathways because it's more so a specialist, I'd say, pathway. I'm based in Henrietta House, so I'd say the European headquarters of CBRE. And yeah.
Cool. And so how did you discover CBRE and what made you want to apply to CBRE? Amanda, I'll come to you first.
So my background is in civil and structural engineering. So I studied, which is a bit facade related, but not too much. I was looking around, and then I was looking for a place that would incorporate my interest in engineering as well as real estate. And I think CBRE is only one of the companies that actually provide those services. And also, like, I had met a few people who actually work for CBRE, and they had spoken of how grand it was working within CBRE. And I thought this was like perfect place for me at a time when I was looking for a role in facades. So yeah.
Awesome. And Tom?
Well, yeah, one of the things, I hadn't really come across real estate because I did an undergrad in economics, and I was kind of going down more of an accounting route. But then I kind of decided it wasn't really for me, and started to explore other options. Came across real estate, and then started speaking to people in the industry, and they all kind of spoke so highly of CBRE and such good reputation, the green machine. So it just kind of felt right to apply for them and kind of put my effort into this company and the application. And luckily, here we are.
Shows the power of networking as well. So did both, when you say you both spoke about to people in the industry, was that through LinkedIn, or was that from going out to kind of events, or was kind of, how did you go about meeting those people?
I think it was for me through LinkedIn. During university, I kind of brought myself up to ensure my LinkedIn was up to date and reaching out to people if I had any questions regarding whatever industry I chose to be in. So through LinkedIn, I managed to make a friend who worked at CBRE, and yeah, from then on, I got a bit of an insight.
Yeah, I just actually end up emailing directly to companies, and just because I wanted to find out more. Now, the beauty about real estate, everyone wants to help each other, and it's a very friendly industry. So got an opportunity to call a lot of people and kind of get their advice, and yeah, it really helped me kind of make a decision of what I want to do, and yeah, go down this pathway.
Awesome. Yeah, I think, and it also doesn't stop there as well. It continues. It's a very heavy network business, I would say. So yeah, that's great that you started early. So what is your favourite thing about being on the Next Gen scheme? Tom, will come to you first.
Well, probably directly for commercial pathway, you get to rotate, and I think that's essential to try and get a range of different skills. So I was in industrial agency in my previous rotation, which helps you kind of get out, be adaptive, and meet new people, get used to talking to people on the phones. But now I've rotated into a valuation seat to get that more technical side and kind of more understanding about how to value a building as a whole, which I think is essential if you want to go towards your APC and pass that. So I think it's a great pathway, and to get the opportunity, because a lot of maybe smaller firms, you don't really get the opportunity to rotate and be in such successful teams as well, because I think almost market leaders in every single team we have. So yeah.
Fab. And Amanda?
So within my pathway, we don't actually rotate, but being within the Next Gen cohort allows me to kind of make connections with other teams as well. I think in our cohort, we had quite a few graduates that are within building consultancy, which is where I sit under. And even though I don't necessarily rotate, I kind of am able to link with the other graduates very easily. And also they kind of connect us a lot with like senior leadership as well. And they also like encourage us to learn a bit more, would you say soft and hard skills? So I feel like there's many reasons why I enjoy the Next Gen cohort, but those are quite a few of the main ones, yeah.
Awesome. And Tom, you touched on the APC. Just for anyone who's a non-cog, could you just explain a bit what the APC is and kind of what that gets you, I suppose?
So I think APC stands for Assessment of Professional Competence. It's kind of what most grads will be on when you start. You work towards this APC process, which if you pass, you will become chartered, which just is a qualification and just gives you it makes you kind of a lot more respected in the industry. But obviously it's not necessary, but I think most people do get qualified and chartered. It normally involves 2 years of experience, and then you submit a document kind of showing your competencies, what you've done in these first 2 years, and then you all have an interview question on this document. So it's, I think, quite an intense process, but it comes out with hopefully a chartership. So
fab. What has been your biggest success whilst being at CBRE, Amanda?
It's so difficult to count on hand because it's like every day is so different and every day brings like something new. I think working on some of the buildings that I go past every single day, or the ones that people generally know. So like when someone says, oh, this building, like the Gherkin, for example, yes, I've worked on that. So I feel like my biggest success is actually like in the earlier stages of my time at CBRE, I was able to work on like buildings like that. So yeah, it's my biggest success.
Are you able to name drop any other big buildings that you've worked on, or are you? Is that not allowed?
In reality, if you think of all the biggest buildings or the nicest buildings in London, we've probably worked on them. So I'll leave it open to the floor.
Thanks. Very diplomatic. And Tom, your biggest success?
So I've assisted a lot of my team in absolutely massive kind of industrial warehouses, working in industrial agency. So I've seen people on over 360,000 square foot units, which is kind of quite mental to almost comprehend in imagination. But I myself was managed to let a 20,000 square foot unit in Aintree to a accident repair centre they already have centres in 11 places across the UK, in Scotland, Northwest, Midlands. So it's kind of quite nice to be able to go through that whole process. First take the inquiry, then take them on site, take them through the whole legal process and get the deal across the line and actually start earning some fees for your team, so you feel like you are making an impact, which is it's kind of what you want to do, don't you? So
yeah, absolutely. And just to clarify as well, you've both been here a year?
Yeah.
Around about
a year and a couple of weeks, yeah.
Yeah, so you're also working on these types of buildings, obviously with supervision or on these types of projects, but at this stage in your career as well, which is pretty phenomenal, right?
Yeah, I guess it's great to say that you've worked on something and they give you a bit of autonomy once they realize the potential that you have within the team. It's like, I never thought that within the first few weeks, as much as I was supervised with another engineer, I was able to go on a crane, for example, or be on top of the roof, like inspecting a particular facade. Like I never really, I thought it would be a lot more theory based at the beginning, but we're given a lot of opportunities within engineering to go on site as early as possible. So yeah.
Fantastic. And Tom, you touched on some of the projects one of the projects that you've worked on. What other type of projects are you getting involved with in the commercial pathway?
So in my most recent rotation, which have only been less than 2 weeks I've been in, I've been more technical side, doing valuation reports, which involves inspecting kind of assets and then going around and basically trying to find a value for them. This is mainly for banks who have given out some money towards these occupiers, and it's kind of interesting. You get to kind of work out, expect some rental value, trying to work out that and put it in a model, and then use these figures from this model into a report. And it's interesting trying to find this whole process of going through to get this valuation figure. And you get to work with pretty unique assets, especially in operational real estate, which I'm in. So I've helped on valuing a Travelodge in Southport. I've helped on valuing a kind of cultural centre in Manchester and sports stadium. So it's exciting things to get involved in, and I don't think you really get these opportunities in a lot of other firms because you just have these opportunities given to you.
Yeah, because of the scope of the projects that we're working on, we do get to kind of get exposure to larger opportunities. I remember I was speaking to someone in the valuations team, and they had done a evaluation on a saw maze, so they had to go through and taken loads of photos of like a saw maze, and they said it was the weirdest valuation they had ever done. So that's the kind of things that you'd be working on. What about you, Amanda? What other projects are you getting involved in?
So we can work on wider scales. Like recently I worked on a travel lodge, and sometimes you'll be working on a canopy, which is really small. Sometimes you'll be working on a whole glass factory, which is pretty cool. I think ours is more so like looking at the materials aspect. So you can work from residential. So like, I guess like residential student homes we look at, and then sometimes you're looking at shopping centres, for example. So it's a range of different things. So yeah.
Cool. And then outside of your day-to-day job, what other things do you get involved in CBRE? Amanda?
So aside from that, I do study my master's part-time as well within CBRE, but I like to go for walks. I tend to read a lot of books. I tend to do some tutoring sometimes. I like to kind of, study some maths as well. So yeah, a range of different things. I like to keep myself quite busy.
Are you part of the CBRE book club?
No, I'm not.
There's something to sign up to.
I definitely will be joining because there's a lot of books I want to catch up on. But yeah, no, I'll definitely look at that as well.
And what about you, Tom?
So, well, even within CBRE, they have a lot of things to offer for extracurricular stuff. So I've been involved in the social committee with it for the graduates within the kind of national team. And there's lots of different opportunities to get involved with charity. Got a charity day, or 2 charity days, which you can kind of put your time towards doing your own, what you want to support. And there's lots of different sporting activities to get involved in. So I've done charity rugby tournaments. So it's got a lot of opportunities to not just work. You get to get out and meet new people. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I think as kind of cliche as it sounds, I think there is that kind of like work hard, play hard type thing. We're very good at the charity side of things for sure. We're always doing lots of different bits. There's always our current charity partner is Macmillan. There's always Macmillan in the office and doing lots of bits and bobs. So yeah, agreed with that one. So finally then, before we go to questions from the floor, what tips would you give to someone wanting to join the Next Gen scheme at CBRE? Amanda, I'll come to you first.
I'd say do your research. CBRE is a very big company, so knowing what we do would be very helpful, and also keeping up to date. They have a lot of information on their LinkedIn that's really useful for you to kind of get a feel of how it is working in CBRE. And yeah, just doing a lot of research into CBRE and just being yourself, genuinely. Like, there's always a place for everyone here, so there's no pressure. Just be yourself and do your research. So yeah.
Fab, thank you. And Tom?
Well, yeah, I kind of echo that. I think it's important to make sure you're practicing. And I know when I was applying for the graduate program, I was practicing answering questions. So you kind of write down a list of questions. You kind of write kind of mock answers. It can feel like a bit of a test, but I think when you actually get in there, the interviewers are always so relaxed, and they want to make they want you to do well. So they will relax you, but as long as you go in prepared and you've practiced these answers, you know what you're going to say, and you kind of you display you've got a passion to work at CBRE and in real estate, I think you'll be in.
Fab, cool. Well, I'll introduce Yashni to the stage. It feels weird saying from the stage and from the floor. Hi, Yashni. Do you want to give a quick introduction of who you are?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you for all your questions. I am Yashni Bika. I am a HR apprentice advisor here at CBRE. I've been here for now a year, so I'm on my third rotation. So I'm just going to kick it off with the main question, if that's okay, Hannah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you sponsor international students?
So we can sponsor international students. So what we ask for is that everyone has their own right to work in the UK at the commencement of their graduate scheme, or starting with us. And then we have got the option to sponsor, but we do just make sure that everyone's got their own right to work initially.
And what is the start date for the graduate scheme?
We haven't got a specific one yet, but it will be somewhere in kind of mid-September 2024.
And what skill sets are tested in the online assessment?
Good question. So we have identified 4 success criteria that are kind of relevant across all of the business. They are, I don't know if I'm able to say exactly what they are, but they are basically skills that we've identified as successful for you to complete the role. There's not a way of cheating the system or kind of changing the way that you answer the questions. My best recommendation is just answer the questions how you would answer the questions. It's an online gamification style testing. So you don't need to really think about what you're doing. It's just how you naturally would respond. And that will basically give us a bit of a kind of overview of your skills and your behavioral skills and your kind of potential, I suppose. So it's based on you as a person, and you can't really change you as a person. So my best recommendation is just answer it how you would answer it. Because, and then if it suits, it suits. If it doesn't, then unfortunately it doesn't. But it's just based on you as a person.
Okay. And how do they know if they have progressed or passed the online testing?
So after the end of the applications close, once they close on the 22nd of October, we've got a small window to complete the testing, and then after that, I will be reviewing all of the scoring and all of the responses. So we will then be letting people know whether or not they've got successful to the next stage, or whether or not, unfortunately, they're not successful.
What is the ideal applicant, and is there any skills/experience that you look for?
Good question. I don't think there is an ideal applicant, and I'll also open this shortly to Tom and Amanda as well. So get your thinking caps on of what kind of skills and attributes you think someone would have. But for me, there is not an ideal candidate. I think there is a home for everyone, and lots of different types of personalities. There's not a one size fits all, especially because of all the different pathways we've got. My one thing that I would say we are looking for attribute wise would be, we want someone who's passionate, we want someone who's hardworking, we want someone who's very driven. It's fantastic that we work for the largest real estate company in the world, but also we work for the largest real estate company in the world. So we are incredibly busy. We have a lot of work on a very high scale, large scale scope. So it's quite a fast-paced environment, and it is busy, and there can be busy times. So if you're the kind of person who wants to come in and work 9 to 5 and then leave, it's probably not for you. Yes, okay, we're not going to get you staying here all hours of the night, but we do require that flexibility, and we do require that kind of person who's going to give it their all. We focus a lot on kind of work-life balance, and it's important to us because we do have such a busy kind of work life. So I think that would be my main thing, is just kind of being really driven, being really passionate, and being really hardworking. We want people who are going to do well, and people who are going to give it their all as well. There are people who, sorry, I've really gone on with this question, with this answer, but there are people who would love to work for CBRE and have tried to apply numerous times, or all of those types of things. So if you come in thinking that you're just going to waltz into a position, might not be quite the case. We want someone who is really kind of understanding of how amazing an opportunity it is to work at CBRE, I would say. Yeah, that's a really long-winded way of putting that. But Tom and Amanda, do you have any kind of skills that you would say are, you obviously work in quite different areas of the business as well. What skills would you say are quite essential to your roles?
Well, I personally just being adaptable and be able to adjust on a job, because as much as you come in with a list of jobs, you want to come with 15 jobs, you get through 5 and then something comes up and you've got to put back these other 10 jobs and get on with it. So it's just being able to adapt and know what's important and make that judgment and go with that. And I think it's important to try and get that across, and especially if you put it in your CV, you want to try and put things in which show this. You put things in what past experience, and you want to show how that can be then used in CBRE and how they can make use of it.
Fab. And Amanda?
I definitely would like to bounce off on that, like being able to work in different, because in some pathways, like Tom's, you'd have to go into different areas of CBRE. So it's good to be adaptable and also willing to learn, because sometimes you'll be given a lot of work, and if you're not up to it, you need to kind of show to your team that you really want to, even if you don't understand, but you have the willingness to learn and say, because I don't know this, it'll be really useful, because in my team, it is quite technical. So sometimes you may not know everything, but if you show the willingness of wanting to learn and, just like, can I help here? Can I help there? It'll be, very useful. So, yeah.
I think everyone asks questions. I think everyone I speak to say, if you don't know something, ask. There's no stupid question. A lot of people have been working at CBRE for like 20 years and they've heard it all. So there's no stupid questions. So, don't be afraid.
Okay. And Hannah, you mentioned that CBRE has a dedicated learning and development team. Can you explain a bit about what this entails, and are employees given a specific mentor, or are there weekly/monthly learning sessions?
Yeah, so we have a dedicated learning and development team that kind of work on improving other skills rather than just your day-to-day skills in your kind of normal job. Then you do have a mentor, you do have a buddy, so you have lots of support and lots of kind of people who you can ask questions to, bounce off of, and lots of kind of support in that side. I'm going to actually pass it over to Tom and Amanda, whoever wants to take it, of what kind of support you get from the L&D team.
We get weekly meetings and people coming in and talking about different parts of the business, people from all over the world. So you do get can learn about different parts of the business, different countries, which is really interesting. And I think especially now coming towards your APC, you get a lot of help with studying towards that. They think the CBRE are really good for that. They want you to pass first time, and they strive to make sure you've got all the skills for that. So a lot to learn.
We also have the sticker book where you can learn different things within the industry. So I guess they have the sustainability aspect where you learn a lot of information and you just collect stickers at the end of it. We also have like dedicated CPD training as well, where different companies will come in, different people within CBRE will come in and teach you something. For example, in ours, we have engineering-based CPDs where we learn a lot of different things within engineering and within building consultancy. So it's a range of different trainings that you can join as well. So yeah, there's a lot.
And then when it comes to doing your APC as well, we've got a lot of support around that and getting you through, for those who are taking their APC, for getting you through that. We've got lots of kind of RICS training and all of those types of things. So we've got a very high pass rate on that side as well, I know.
And off the back of that RICS training, so in addition to gaining a RICS or RTPI qualification, do you support students in getting a master's at all?
Yes. So if you are a non-cognate student and you need to have a master's degree, so for example, Amanda came in with having a structural engineering degree, then required the master's in order to kind of get through. So we fund the master's, that's all taken care of. So Amanda would have a day off a week to study for that. If you came into the commercial pathway and you hadn't done a RICS accredited degree, then or masters, then we would fund you doing your masters. And again, you'd have that day off. So you'd be doing, it's a bit more work because you're doing your graduate scheme and you're doing a master's, but it's it's all taken care of for you.
And Hannah, again, as you mentioned, the start date of the graduate scheme will be in September 2024, but will it be possible to start before that period if we graduate at the beginning of the year of 2024? Sorry,
that's fine. As a general rule of thumb, no. We try and get everyone starting on the same day, so that then you all go through the same induction week together. It's a great way to meet other people and to get you all upskilled into the same level straight away. However, there are on rare occasions the need for us to have someone starting earlier. So yeah, on an odd occasion, it might be that someone does start earlier, but as a general rule of thumb, no, it does all start in September.
Okay. And what if you're already accredited but would like to pursue a master's by choice and to benefit their career?
So it would depend on if there is a need. That would be a case-by-case basis. It's something we have got additional kind of development training in place, whether or not that's through masters or diplomas or whatever it might be. But it's a case-by-case basis, and we would review it whether or not you kind of whereas I mean, if you've done a real estate undergrad, you probably might not need to do a real estate master's. So we would look at how beneficial that would be, basically.
Okay. And is the summer internship application process similar to the graduate scheme one? And if we complete an internship with CBRE, can that improve our likelihood of being accepted to the graduate scheme in the future?
So it is pretty similar, yeah. There's no application form, there's still an online testing, and there's still kind of interviews and all of that kind of stuff. It's although it doesn't guarantee you to better your opportunity of getting onto the graduate scheme, it definitely helps, I would say, because getting onto the internship program as well is a very tricky process. We have a lot of applicants to our internship scheme for not a huge amount of positions available. So if you do get through to that stage, then and you've spent 4 weeks with us showing to us and demonstrating us what you can do, then yes, it will contribute to your application for the graduate scheme. But it's not kind of an absolute guaranteed, yes, you've done an internship with us, so you're on our graduate scheme.
Okay. This question is more so for Amanda and Tom. How did you approach the initial LinkedIn conversations? And I guess to build on it, Hannah, as a recruiter, how would you want people to approach you?
I think it just takes a bit of courage just to get out there and try and send that message, try and just connect with people and be proactive. I think that's just the main thing. A lot of people will just sit their laurels and try and wait for things to come to them, but just get out there, research who they are, where they work, and if you get an opportunity, just send a message and just say, look, I'm wanted to join the industry. I'm just wondering if I could find out some more. I mean, I think that's all it takes. And yeah, then about you, Amanda, if that anything else.
Yeah, I kind of like started looking. It depends if you know what you want, and if you don't. If you don't know what you want, then I guess it's easier just to like look around and connect with people that you may have an idea of where you want to be. So with CBRE, when I wanted to join CBRE, I started looking for people who worked within CBRE, within the team that I wanted to be a part of. So I connected with them. I'd kind of see like what they had done. I'd ask questions that I would think that they would know of, or anything that was facade related, I guess, I would just ask them. And they were pretty much very helpful. People are very, very helpful on LinkedIn. Personally, it's like a social media platform for professionals. So people are very open to answering your questions. It's just a matter of, as Tom said, having the courage to kind of speak up and just send a message and connect with the people that you think will help you in the future.
I would also say as well, and this is kind of the recommendation that I give to everyone, the worst that's going to happen is either someone doesn't respond or they say no. The likelihood of them saying no is very, very slim. And if they don't respond, then it's not the end of the world, and you've not really lost anything at all. I think be targeted with who you're speaking to, be appreciative of people's time, but also, yeah, just people want to help. People want to help other people, and also people like to talk about what they do as well. So if you ask someone, oh, what do you do, and can we have a coffee or can we have a Zoom call for 15 minutes just so I can understand a bit more about what you do, then that is going to benefit you, and they probably will be very happy to do that if they've got time. It definitely pays off kind of networking and building up your network. And like Amanda said, or Tom said, just emailing people as well, as long as it's targeted and as long as it doesn't look like you're spamming people, then they will take a notice in it and they will take interest in it, and it does go a long way.
And how do you choose them like suitable candidates amongst such a huge amount of applications? What makes an applicant stand out, I guess?
So now that our process has changed slightly, it's based all off initially on that online testing. So that will kind of form the basis, and then we will be doing the phone screening, which will form another basis, and then we'll be doing our assessment centre, which will be another basis. So it starts off very general and very broad, and then it starts to kind of get more technical and more tailored to the pathway that you're going for. But I genuinely would, at the beginning stage, it's obviously just be yourself, and also the whole way through, be yourself. If it's the right fit for us and if it's the right fit for you, then it will work. It is tricky sometimes because we have more amazing candidates than we have positions available. So also don't be too disheartened if you don't get onto the graduate scheme initially. There's always next year, or there's always other ways into CBRE. Continue networking, continue kind of building and speaking with people, because then if a position does come up, then you're going to be the forefront of someone's mind. But it is a really tricky, competitive process. So don't be too disheartened if you don't get through straight away. We have a lot of applicants for not a huge amount of seats. So just be yourself. Do your research, like Amanda said. Ask lots of questions, and build your network.
Yeah. And for Tom, did you have any influence over what rotations you go into, or are they chosen for you?
It works differently in kind of London and Manchester. I think it's a bit more formal in London, where you have to rank your choices and what you do, but it always does tend to start with just getting to know other teams, getting to know other heads of teams, and just start to have a conversation, start that dialogue, see if it's something that works for you, and see if something you want to get involved in. It's kind of, I mean, I kind of spoke to 4 different teams in Manchester just to get a feel for what they were looking for and what sort of they did as a team, because you may have a basic understanding of what they do, but it's important to hear from them what they do and how they differ to other companies, because that's the point with CBRE, you are hopefully the pinnacle and all these different teams. So it's one thing, you do get some influence, but it's not necessarily going to be, you're not necessarily going to get your exact seat, but yeah, just something that see.
Yeah, and just as an extension to that question, once you've completed your rotations, do you choose the team you join at the end of the scheme, or is it chosen for you?
Again, it just depends on a team by team basis, because not every team will need someone at the end of it. It's just based on where they are at the time, and I guess if you impress, if you're working hard and you feel you can make an impact to the team, then the more likely want to keep you on. So it's not really nothing set in stone. I wouldn't worry too much about that. If you do your first 2 rotations and you feel like neither of them are right, you don't have to go into any of them. You can still go out there, still speak to other heads of teams, and kind of go wherever you want to go. So you're not restricted, and that's one of the things that CBRE, they don't force you to do anything, which is good.
And Hannah, what pathway has the biggest cohort to finish off the Q&A?
The commercial, definitely. That's our most large cohort, probably slowly or closely followed by the environmental social governance consultancy cohort. They're growing massively, but yeah, still the commercial at the moment. Fab. Well, thanks everyone for joining today. For those of you who have opted in to share your data with us, we'll be emailing you with the QR code and some more information. But if you and then you can ask us any questions. If you do have any other questions that weren't answered, you can email me or at CBRE nextgeneration@cbre.com. So that's CBRE nextgeneration@cbre.com. And I can come back to your any questions that you didn't get answered. But otherwise, I hope to see your applications coming through and look forward to hopefully meeting you in the future at CBRE.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.